Question: what do you get when you stuff 3,500 cars onto the streets of a tiny northern Michigan town and then add a crowd of over 100,000 people? Why, St. Ignace 96, of course, an antique auto show and collector vehicle festival held every year in St. Ignace, Michigan. This event is so large and diverse, we're going to spend the next 2 programs showing you some of the cars, people, and contests that make this a premier event. On today's show, we'll check out a new attraction that's sure to be a crowd pleaser, the Burnout Contest. Welcome back to My Classic Car. Here on the streets of St. Ignace, Michigan, at the Straits Area Antique Auto Show, you'll see cars of almost every type and description, including many classic Corvettes. One of the most popular Vettes of all time is fondly called the Split Window Coupe, so named for its radical rear window design. With some help from our friends at the General Motors Film Archives, we were able to dig up and dust off Biography of a Sports Car, a Chevrolet promotional film produced for the launch of the new Stingray back in 1962. This archival treasure chronicles the development of the hand-built prototypes and offers a unique behind-the-scenes look at GM in the early 60s.
The idea of the new Corvette Sting Ray was conceived at the General Motors Technical Center, where designers and engineers were given free rein to develop a distinctly different kind of sports car from the ground up. Once overall design requirements for a convertible and a sports coupe were established and major components had been built and pre-tested, the next major step was the construction of pre-production prototype models to check out design and engineering details of the finished cars. Beginning with a one-piece underbody, the first handmade prototype, a sports coupe, takes shape and form on a perfectly level surface plate in the Fiberglass body shop. For this new fastback model, the passenger compartment is completely framed in a steel network that in non-technical language is known as the birdcage. It isn't long before the surface plate is filled with clamps and fixtures as additional body sections are assembled like a giant jigsaw puzzle. Each new section is carefully fitted into place, then prepared for bonding to adjacent panels. All of the pieces that make a complete prototype body, including this rear quarter panel, are formed in plaster molds that are hand cast from wood patterns. After the molds are treated with a coat of resin, fiberglass cloth is carefully hand fitted to their contours, then coated with more resin. When the plastic material has set and been trimmed, the panel is taken out of the mold and fitted into a sub-assembly consisting of the roof and the opposite rear quarter panel. With the roof and rear fender assembly now joined into a single unit, the entire piece is lifted out of its special fixture and bonded directly to the underbody and birdcage. The birdcage is designed to provide steel support for the fiberglass roof section in the passenger area of the fastback model. This marriage of steel and fiberglass also results in a stronger body with increased torsional rigidity. While each piece of the prototype body, including front fender panels, is carefully and accurately joined on the surface plate in the fiberglass body shop, a prototype frame for the new sports car takes shape on another surface plate in the experimental frame shop. The shorter frame for the 98-inch wheelbase car is entirely new, a rigid perimeter unit with 5 cross members. As the frame continues taking shape, constant checks against engineering and production standards are made. Then, the 2 sub-assemblies are welded together, and the completed frame is moved into the paint shop for final finishing. Soon afterward, frame and body are ready to be joined temporarily to check fit, accuracy, and alignment, and to transport the body to the paint shop. The clutter of fixtures surrounding the fiberglass body is removed, revealing a distinctly different sports car look. The hood line is long, low, and tapered. Later, retractable headlights will be installed to complete the smooth, sweeping effect. The body is also significantly lower and more compact than in previous years, yet some interior dimensions have actually been increased. And for easy entry and exit, door openings wrap right into the roof panel. Every part on a pre-production car calls for specialized attention. Someone to design it and someone to make it. Prototype body hardware, for instance, is die cast one piece at a time in the engineering foundry. But the precision molds are made from wood models, and the hand-carved wood models are made from blueprints. And the blueprints are based on sketches drawn by stylists. Assembly proceeds from the ground up, starting with the prototype frame and a completely new rear suspension system. First, to decrease the unsprung weight of the car and thereby produce true sports car ride and road handling, a rubber isolated differential is bolted to the frame. Additional stability is provided by a unique 3-link suspension unit attached at each rear wheel. One link absorbs acceleration and braking forces. Another controls forces set up by twists and turns. And a separate axle shaft with double universal joints forms the 3rd link in each rear suspension unit. The net result of this entirely new unit is a fully independent rear suspension system for greater control on starts, stops, and turns on the highway and in competitive driving. Now the fiberglass body, which has been sprayed with an experimental metallic color, is lowered on the chassis and bolted down to 8 body mounts. With the prototype rapidly reaching its completion and evaluation date, skilled assemblers work round the clock to meet predetermined build schedules. Soon, the prototype interior is completed, down to the very last screw and washer. Rapid progress is also made in the outside appearance of the car, which takes on a distinctive look and personality all its own. A major checkpoint has now been reached. For the prototype sports car, after nearly 2 years of planning, designing, and pre-testing, and the individual efforts of hundreds of people, is a completed reality. It moves now to the test car garage, where final changes will be made in paint, parts, and engineering specifications before final evaluation of a convertible and a sports coupe begins at the General Motors Proving Ground. Here, a group of Chevrolet research and development engineers and Zora Arkastuntov, staff engineer in charge of high-performance vehicles, are joined by two well-known Corvette drivers, Dr. Dick Thompson and Dave McDonald. Their purpose? To evaluate a Stingray convertible and a Stingray fastback. Two prototypes which reflect a full decade of sports car experience by stylists, engineers, research and testing personnel, production experts, and individual craftsmen of 100 different skills. So watch and listen to this new and dramatic idea in sports car going.
Let's stop being excited. Tell me your general feel.
It was a great improvement over the 62.
Sure, quite a car we got this time.
You've had power for some time, but now you've got the other finer points to go with it.
Yes, the 1963 Corvette Stingray is the sports car with a European heritage, but an American biography. A biography that summarizes a decade of outstanding achievement in design, performance, and engineering by Corvette, America's sports car.